Greetings, guys. If I were to drop this blue eraser into a cage occupied by a rat, there is no doubt that that rat would take notice of such a disturbance. But if I were to leave it in that cage for several days, what I would probably observe is a rat who slowly but surely could care less about its presence. What the rat would go through is what's called a desensitization process, meaning I'm kind of desensitized to it. My emotions and my response to its presence becomes nil. In fact, it could actually get to a point where it just habituates to its presence. You'd have to point it out and say, hey, remember the blue eraser that's in here? And the rat would probably go, oh yeah, that thing. Well, who cares? But on the other hand, if I were to drop this into the rat's cage, and after it takes notice of it, right behind it, I drop a food pellet. And I do that each day. In comes the eraser, then the food pellet right behind it. I would be doing the opposite. The animal would no longer become desensitized to the presence of the blue eraser, but instead would become sensitized, meaning I would be going through a sensitization process instead. And you hear both of those terms in dog training all the time. Sensitize the dog, desensitize the dog. Desensitizing the dog, an example would be, like in my house. Captain loves the ball, and I keep the ball in a certain cabinet. I go to the cabinet. Anytime I go to that cabinet for anything, there's Captain looking up at the cabinet. A lot of you have dogs who go nuts anytime you grab a leash. So you go and grab your leash off the hook, like mine is over here, and next thing you know, your dogs are going bananas. Maybe you just wanted to move the leash. Maybe you wanted to clean off those hooks. Maybe you want to rearrange the hooks, put different things on there, what have you. But it doesn't matter because they have become sensitized to the action that will occur when the leashes are taken off the hook, just like Captain with the cabinet. If I wanted to make that go away, of course, what I would do is simply take the leashes off the hook and I'd go for a walk. Take them off, throw them on the sofa. Take them off, carry them around with me, drape them around my neck. Do that all day long. Sometimes I go for a walk, sometimes I don't. But in the beginning, most times I don't. Dogs that bark at doors, ding dong, rah, 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 rah. I mean, it's just a cacophony of sound going off. Well, all you'd have to do is just keep ringing that doorbell, nothing's there. Ring the doorbell, nothing's there. Eventually, the dogs would become desensitized to the doorbell ringing, along with you taking your leashes off the hook, and me with Captain going to the cabinet that has the ball. So they work hand in hand. However, there's one application in which we try to desensitize a dog, and which I think has a lot of fault in it, and we have to be very careful with it. And that is where we try to uncouple all of those little rituals we go through before we leave our home when we're dealing with a dog who may be suffering from separation anxiety, or what I call separation-related disorder. So many times, dog owners of such dogs afflicted with that condition are told, tell you what, go grab your car keys, but don't leave. Grab your purse, but don't leave. Go through all those little rituals that you do, but don't leave. And in theory, yes, uncouple your leaving, all those rituals, in your actual absence. However, therein lies a problem. Because what you mean to do in one hand, desensitize, you may actually be sensitizing your dog and making matters worse. So let me kind of go back to my little rat. So I have the same rat in that cage. And we decide to give it a series of static shocks with no warning. And they just come randomly. Well, after about 3 days of doing that multiple times per day, if you were to measure that rat's resting blood pressure, its cortisol level in its bloodstream, glucocorticoids as well, you would find a rat that is absolutely incredibly stressed. Yeah, no warning, no predictive information. At any moment, I'm a half second away from being shocked. But If you were to give the rat a warning, maybe ring a bell, a mere second before the shock. Now what you'll have is, after a few days of that, is a rat who has a great resting, very low resting blood pressure, hardly any evidence of cortisol in his system. His stress response is relaxed. And you ask why? Well, that warning gives the rat two pieces of information. It learns that something dreadful is just about to happen. But the rest of the time, it learns that something dreadful is not going to happen. And it can relax. So predictive information, yes, may say, hey, rat, I got bad news for you. You're going to get shocked. But it also tells the rat, guess what? You can relax and don't worry. It's never going to just be sprung on you. So the same thing happens with dogs who suffer from separation-related disorder. If you uncouple all of those events that you typically go through before you leave your house, then what you have done in essence is taken away the warning. The warning. Now, I could just be a mere half second away from you leaving. I never know for sure when you're going to leave. And because of that, I will evoke anti-predatory behavior. And this kind of behavior was meant for prey species, but that's what your dog becomes because it feels threatened. It feels like its life is in danger when you leave. And again, this evolved for prey species, and it was driven by survival. Vigilance spent, head up, time spent head up looking for threats is essential for survival in systems with top predators on which there are many, many threats. So now all of a sudden, your dog can't relax in between your comings and goings. It can't relax. It's constantly vigilant, always looking in your direction. Are you leaving or are you not? I don't know if you're going to leave or not. I don't know. There's no warning anymore. Those old things I used to rely upon, you grabbing your keys and you grabbing your purse, those are no longer reliable. I can't trust them anymore. So think about that. So in your effort to desensitize your dog to your leaving your home, to your absence, you have in fact sensitized your dog. You've taken your dog through a sensitization process. And you've actually made matters worse. I've been working with separation-related disorder dogs for 4 decades. And I'm here to tell you, the vast majority, by far, overwhelmingly by far, those who abandon their attempts to decouple the process of leaving with actually leaving, and instead just left, just go through your ritual, just leave. Those dogs fared much better overall. They did not fall into the trap of pathological stress, constant vigilance, time spent head up, always looking for a threat. Like the rat who was given the warning, yes, bad news is coming, yes, they are leaving. But in between all of that, I can relax. I can finally relax. So guys, I need you to think about that. If you have a dog who does suffer from any sort of separation anxiety of any varying degrees, yes, at some point, the dog's on the more severe end, you'd probably have to introduce some sort of medication to help trap the dog at a certain point in a stress response, so it doesn't get to that panic level, and therefore they can learn. And at that point there, you can, with some of these animals, you can start to uncouple all those events that you go through to leave. But until that day occurs, go away from that. You're only going to make matters worse. And again, I have thousands of clients who have attested to that very thing. So think about it. Again, 2 words in dog training. You can desensitize, which has its place. It certainly does. You also can sensitize your dog, which has its place. After all, When you say the word heel and point at your thigh and put a treat there, you are now sensitizing your dog to the word heel and a relative position to your body. That's what training is all about. Otherwise, if I just say heel and nothing else occurs, and I say it all the time, well, first of all, it's like me saying scuba nog. It doesn't mean anything to the dog. And over a period of time, if I say heel, 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 heel all the time, the dog eventually ignores me. Even if you train a dog, you sensitize a dog, you say heel, point to your leg right here. They come to your leg, you give them a reward. Now, if you go for a 2-mile walk and you say heel 50 times during that 2-mile walk, you start running the risk of the blue eraser lying in the rat's cage day in and day out. You will desensitize your dog to that signal that means that you should be sensitized to. So keep all this in mind, just for general dog training, but mostly for my dogs out there that are suffering from separation-related disorder. Forgo uncoupling. Give your dog some warning. Okay, guys, if you found that information beneficial, definitely give it a shot. Give me some feedback on it. And if you want to learn more things or you want to ask me things directly, then I recommend joining what we call the Taming the Wild Inner Circle. It's a program that we started several months back, and Kira and I host it once a week, in which we do a live webinar. And I hold what's called a master class with a subject, and then we answer your questions and we do demonstrations. And in other words, we're there for you. You've joined our inner circle. You join a Facebook group full of support, and we do the same thing for you. We monitor the Facebook group, the questions asked, and we also answer many questions during live calls every single Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Time. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to drop a link here, and you click on that link, and I'll see you on the other side when it comes to the inner circle. In the meantime, sensitize your dog, desensitize your dog, but when it comes to separation anxiety, just go with it. Give your dog some warning. Don't try to uncouple. Be well, guys, and be safe. Hey, guys, if you enjoy my videos, or better yet, find them beneficial to your relationship with your dog, please like the video, share it with another dog-loving friend, and subscribe.